what's going on, everyone? Welcome in to a brand new episode of Snaps. Happy Thanksgiving. It's time to talk some football. There's so many great storylines going on in the rivalry weekend. We're going to talk about it all when it comes to every single game. Obviously, we'll talk the game, Ohio State, Michigan. We got the Civil War, Oregon State, Alabama-Auburn in the Iron Bowl, the Egg Bowl, LSU A&M. And even FSU, Florida, which has a name, the Sunshine Showdown. Whew. That is not easy to say. The Sunshine Showdown.
The Sunshine Showdown. The sun,
Yeah.
especially with someone who has a lisp like I do. It's just the S is not very good. Yeah.
Aaron, how was some action last night? You had a good time?
I did have a great time. A little maction. It wasn't that cold. And Bowling Green just bent them over, unfortunately. So it was not as exciting of a game to call as I was hoping it would be. But that's it for Maction, boys and girls. No more Maction. It was fun while it lasted.
Your boy's freaking fired up. I just got my bird in the brine for the first time this year. I'm trying to do like a real good brine, not just like salt and water, right? I got freaking salt, brown sugar. I got orange peels in there. I got peppercorns. I got bay leaves. I got rosemary. I got fresh minced garlic in there. And I just put the bird underwater for the next 24 hours. Let's freaking go, dude. Feeling good. And then as soon as I get done with talking about college football day, Coors Light in the backyard, chilling out all day long. Can't wait. All right. Let's start with the big one. Let's start with Aaron Murray, the game, Ohio State and Michigan. And it feels more than any other situation I can ever remember because of the top-heavy nature of the Big Ten. This is truly what the entire season has been building towards. Like the Big Ten maybe has some fun stuff going on the interim, like Iowa winning the West while hitting unders and being awful is cool, and Nebraska being so close to being bowl eligible, just like continuing to barely fall short is somewhat interesting. Could Penn State join the big boys? Was a talk we kind of liked. I thought about Talia Tagovailoa probably like 3 times this season, just like thought about him for a second. But everything's been leading up to this moment right here. I don't know. I mean, I don't know that I can find a great parallel for. I mean, this is truly an all-in moment for both schools.
Do you think this game loses luster next year when they're probably going to have to rematch right afterwards in a Big Ten championship game because there's no divisions? Like, is this the last big moment in this rivalry game, or will it always feel this big? What do you think?
God, I'm so distracted. I look like a fucking corpse. I'm so pale. Potentially. I mean, okay, look, yes. If they were to play and rematch a week later, absolutely. Yeah. It sucks for the winner. It's great for the loser. It sucks if the winner of the first game loses the second game, all that stuff. I understand all that. Do you think it's just going to be automatic every year?
No. I don't think
joining the fight.
No, but they will still most likely, maybe Oregon's getting into the situation where they're recruiting at a high level with Dan Lanning, and he's going to put together a good roster, but they will still probably be the favorites to be the final 2 teams when it's all said and done.
I mean, I
wonder if you move the game too, like move it to middle of the season where it's not like, because more times than not, it's going to be those 2 in the Big Ten championship game.
Yeah, you're not having to play with Oregon, Washington, USC inviting chaos in there, like hopefully with better money, other teams starting to catch up. Like maybe Penn State finally does break through. What if Penn State gets like a good offensive coordinator, James Franklin actually lets him go? And that's not to say any of this was the
Ohio
OC's
State, Michigan will
fault.
still have the 2 of the best rosters in college football. They will still have it. It's not going to happen every year. Like I'm not trying to say it's going to happen for the
Michigan's
next 10
not
years.
an overwhelmingly good roster though. They're very good. I mean, they're in the elite club.
And
but
if they lose hardball, you may lose a lot of that energy which they've been able to build for the past 3 years. So maybe not. I'm just saying, like, just in case, because they will still be 2 of the powerhouses in that conference. Do you move the game to earlier in the season to protect a back-to-back game?
Or Goat Dog says Oregon pulling both these old farts under. Yeah, I mean, look, We gonna talk Oregon today, Aaron Murray, or
Yeah.
it's fucking prove it time for the Oregon Ducks.
Yep.
We'll get there. We get there though. Let's
Yep.
talk about the game itself.
Yep.
Saturday, 11 a.m. Probably the second most interesting game taking place at 11-2 LSU A&M. There's so many, like I said, the dynamics of this game beyond just the fact that it's been this incredible build up to this moment. It's also one of the most complicated games when it comes to kind of narrative dynamics and trying to figure it out and trying to think about what I really think is going to happen. And this is where I think I get kind of fascinated, Aaron. If we resort to the KISS method, right? Keep it simple, stupid. It should not be hard to figure out who's going to win this game. Michigan beat Ohio State badly in bad weather in Ann Arbor 2 years ago. They beat him in perfect weather last year in Columbus. Now you have a worse Ohio State team and a better Michigan team. And so obviously Michigan wins, right? Right? But
okay, sorry.
you're going to tell me. You're going to tell me.
Finish your point. Finish your point.
No. Because I got a little bit of runway left, and I want to hear. I've been looking for something to make me laugh on this pre-Thanksgiving day. Tell me that last year's Ohio State with C.J. Stroud is better than Kyle McCord's Ohio State. Can you tell me? Can you say it? So
it's a better defense. It's a better defense. It's a better defense.
That's not what I fucking said. You've had a significant downgrade at the most important position in all of football.
100% agree.
C.J. Stroud had Ohio State on the edge of beating Georgia.
I am 100%. There's a massive downgrade, but you didn't have Henderson last year. Marvin Harrison's a year older. Cade Stover's balling out. You got Ibuka. You have the pieces.
I didn't say it was a bad team. I don't think it's as good of a team as last year.
I think the defensive improvements maybe kind of keeps it like what you lost the quarterback spot, how much better the defense has gotten may kind of equal things out to say, hey, you have a chance to at least slow down Michigan's offense a little bit more this year than in years past.
Okay, then let's say this. Let's go back to our KISS method.
Okay.
Michigan won the last 2 years in both venues in wildly different weather.
Yep.
And now you have an equivalent Ohio State team and an even better Michigan team. Okay, so it should be simple that Michigan's going to win this game. But this is why I say it's fascinating. Because you have the no Harbaugh factor, right? Like, as we discussed, not having your general out there has a way of affecting you, even if it's not like he's not calling plays or it matters. There's no sign stealing. And I know some of you will tell me that's not a big deal, but like other very smart football people will tell you it is a big deal. And as we kind of talk about, that's the insidious part about a drama like this, is that it kind of chews away at the success. Yeah. Like you don't really know, how did this success come about? And I would also say, or I would say though, if I was trying to argue for Ohio State this game, it is the Marvin Harrison Jr. factor. There is not another player like him on the field. Like, that was one of the most disappointing parts of Michigan Penn State, was seeing Roman Wilson just completely disappear. Like, when I finally tuned into Michigan this year, I expected him to feel more dangerous, more dynamic, and they did not. And maybe they don't have to. The same way they didn't have to against Penn State. But like, that's what I would be hanging my hat on if I was Ohio State, is that I do have the most dangerous weapon among both teams.
Well, I think they have the two most dangerous weapons on both teams, and on both. So you not only have him, but you do have a healthy Travion, who, you look at his stats the past 5 games, 4 of those have been over 100 yards. He's been one of the most dynamic running backs the last 5 weeks.
But you're not taking him over Blake over Corbin Edwards, right?
I would say he's been more dynamic this year than they have. Like, the Michigan running game has not been the same. And I think, like, we were praising this offensive line for Michigan to start the season of like, oh man, maybe they're even better than they were the past 2 years. And watch out, they're going to win the Joe. I'm going to say it right. Joe Moorhead Award. Joe Moore Award.
No, Joe Moore. Just, not Joe Moore. Joe Moorhead is the failed Mississippi State head coach.
Yeah, they want him back at Penn State now. Just the Joe Moore Award. They may win it for a 3rd straight year. But then the more you look at him, and they've been banged up a little bit on the front line for Michigan, they've not had a ton of success this year. They've not been great in pass protection. You could see that versus Penn State. And I know Ohio State maybe doesn't have the pass rushers that Penn State does, but I just think the offensive line has underachieved a little bit, and they've set the bar really high. So like it's a little bit down from where it's been the past 2 years, where And it's not like Ohio State is a bunch of just movers on the front line either for their offensive line. But I just think the way that I've seen Travion play when healthy, he's one of the most dynamic running backs in the country. So I think that gap is closed than maybe it has for the past 2 years, where I don't think it's like, oh my God, you got these two incredible running backs from Michigan. Ohio State really doesn't have a running game at all. They have to rely on the passing game. I think this Ohio State offense is more balanced this season than they were last year.
And you think they're going to run on the Michigan defense?
I think they have a better chance of doing it than they did last year, which should hopefully give Marvin Harrison some more one-on-one opportunities, where you just can't play too high and just say, hey, we're going to put a safety over top to kind of shadow Marvin. Like, no, like Ohio State is significantly more capable of running the football this year. And I've been torn, man, because I've been, you know me, I've talked about how good I think Michigan is this entire season.
Yeah,
and I don't want the last
like
2
it's
weeks
coming a bit out of nowhere. You're advocating pretty hard here for an Ohio State play in Ann Arbor.
I know.
Nonetheless.
I went back and watched the last 2 games from Michigan, and you start seeing some of the holes. And
they don't look great.
They've not looked good. And I think it's a very easy schedule. So they looked dominant. They started playing a little bit better competition, and you started to see some chinks in the armor, especially on offense. You started to see
and
some issues in the passing game.
And there is the old idea that we kind of discussed way earlier in the season. Michigan's not really battle tested. Like you can say maybe Penn State was, but I don't know how much of a battle it is if you win a game where you have to throw 8 passes in the second half.
Who's the better roster? Who's the better roster?
Well, Ohio State. Yeah, but they've been that the last 2 years.
I know.
You got their ass kicked both years.
But
therein lies the rub, though. I mean, that is the issue, right? And remember how all of last year was the opposite, where we were like Ohio State's gonna, even though Michigan was the defending Big Ten champs and they had beat him last, we were like, there's just no way. Like Ohio State's gonna win. And then Michigan pretty emphatically said, fuck you, let's make it 2 in a row. And so now we're finally giving ourselves over to Michigan, and you're kind of naturally rubber banding back to Ohio State. I mean, it's maybe not a bad play.
I'm just what Jim Knowles has been able to do in 2 seasons and where this defense is playing right now. I'm just trying to think in my mind where I think Michigan can score. Where is Michigan's advantage on offense? When you look at Ohio State's defense and what they've been able to do from the number 1 passing defense in that conference to how good they've been stopping the run, at least I can look at Ohio State,
right?
Yeah, and JJ's coming off 2 of his worst games of the season. It's like that to me. Like if they would have been as dominant the past 2 weeks, then I would feel better about this. But now that I'm seeing some issues, I kind of look at it and say, Ohio State's playing some of the best defensive football in the country right now. How does Michigan consistently move the ball up and down the field against them if they're not creating chunk plays in the run game? Where I look at Ohio State and I was like, at least I know you got 2 of the best weapons in America, or at least one of them at receiver, one at running back, that can create explosive plays. Like Marvin Harrison Jr. can take over games. I don't know who at Michigan right now can take over a football game like Ohio State can take over a football game from their side.
They haven't needed playmakers the last couple of years, though. So we'll see. So okay, you're kind of, now I'm starting to see the entire picture here. So not only could the defensive improvement maybe make up for, having to downgrade a quarterback, but more specifically, that defensive improvement could put this in Ohio State. Like last year, Ohio State was forced to try to sell out to stop the run, which opened up these big plays. And you think that they won't have to do that potentially this year to stop the run?
No, not as much. No. I don't think so. And maybe I'm just looking too deep in the JJ after what I've seen from the past 2 weeks, but he's banged up. He just does not look. I think it's a lower body injury right now. He doesn't look like the same quarterback. He doesn't. And the offense line does not look like the same offense line we saw at the beginning of the season.
Okay. I mean, Michigan favorite.
And I do think there's a legit coaching factor in this one.
Yeah.
I truly think Ryan Day has his team playing with the mentality of we are tough SOBs, and they're acting like that. And they've done it all season long. Like they've been the aggressors. Like I've never seen Ohio State in my entire life plays as aggressive on both sides of the football as they've done this year. And that's what you need in this game. That's what you need.
Ryan Day's a bitch if he doesn't call out Lou Holtz immediately after the game. If Ohio State
Oh,
wins,
he's gonna call out Jim for cheating. And like the reason why I lost the past 2 years is because I've been going against a team that's cheating. You take that away and look what happens.
well, that's the best part about all of this, right? Is that for each school, okay, so Michigan's had a magical 2 years for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
If they lose this game, all of it is shattered, you know?
Yeah.
All of it was because of cheating. Harbaugh
Mm-hmm.
probably leaves and goes to the NFL because he's going to get in trouble. And all of a sudden, Michigan, which was finally, resurgent, maybe even going to threaten for national championships, all of a sudden, they're back at ground zero.
Mm-hmm.
For Ohio State, well, a win would obviously erase all the pain of the last 2 years. You do it in Ann Arbor, which would add a bit, and then you win you're on to the Big Ten championship, playoff, et cetera, et cetera. But if Ohio State loses, well, and all of a sudden, it's not just because of the sign stealing.
Yeah.
And you're going to tell me that Ryan Day, our guy, can't even beat Michigan without Jim Harbaugh with this great defense? So, like, it's not just actual playoff hopes and championships that are on the line. There's a metric shit ton of narrative floating in the air as well. And that's why this game's so hype. It's going to be awesome.
Joe Klatt has had a hard on all week getting ready for this game. And I would too if I was calling it. Like, I mean, the amount of storylines that you can hit for 4 quarters, on top of that, 2 of the best teams in college football. So it's going to be an entertaining game where you don't even really need the storylines. You can just kind of dip in and dip out whenever you want. I mean, this is a absolute dream for a broadcaster to be able to jump on this call. I mean, it is.
Luck
it's
has
gonna be fun to watch. Yeah,
it's delicious. I mean, really, guys, the next 4 days are fucking delicious. All we're gonna be doing is eating awesome food and watching awesome college football Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then NFL interspersed everywhere within as well. Our cup overfloweth. Let us give thanks.
Who wins
for the time?
Who wins?
Again, I'm just going to go back to the KISS method. I'm going to say Michigan, although you have me, like, if I was going to place a bet this second, I would bet Ohio State plus 3.5 after everything you just said. You laid out a convincing argument, Aaron Murray. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Look at you.
I'm going Ohio State. I just think they're the better roster. I think they're the better roster.
Yes.
They got the more elite playmakers, and they're playing better right now. They're playing
Damn.
today. They are playing significantly better.
I don't think I said this, but this is the last thing too. One thing we always talk about is Michigan going to be battle tested, right? And like I said, they didn't really get that test against Penn State. Ohio State's been in a couple fucking dog fights, and that makes you stronger, right? So Michigan still kind of has yet to taste blood, but we will see. All right, next up, we got to talk the Civil War, Oregon versus Oregon State. But first, let's start with something funny on this matter. Aaron, do you know what trophy this game plays for?
No idea.
They play for the Platypus Trophy. Why would it be a platypus?
I have no idea.
What does a platypus look like?
A duck?
And a beaver combined. How about that shit? Isn't that great?
Yeah,
like I read this morning,
the
Platypus Trophy. I'm like, oh, that's a funny trophy. And then like an hour later, my brain went like, and I was like, holy shit. It's a platypus because it's the duck and the beaver. It's incredible. And it's incredible because this is a game now that features 2 really good teams with a ton on the line. What's not incredible and what bums me out is that this game first took place in 1894. Okay. Since that first meeting, I love stats, stuff like this. This is an excerpt from a local Corvallis newspaper. Since that first meeting, 25 presidents have held office. The first airplane took flight. A man stood on the moon. They played the game in Portland, Albany, Corvallis, and Eugene. The game's name has been changed multiple times. Nearly everything about America has changed since 1896, but one thing has remained a constant. The Ducks and Beavers will find each other on the gridiron. Unfortunately, right now, this is not scheduled for 2024. So enjoy this on Friday because we don't exactly know when we're going to see this again.
So sad. I mean, if Washington State could come to agreement to play each other every single year, like, come on, Oregon State, like, make this game happen. Especially how competitive it is too. But hey, listen, I get hurt feelings, changing of landscape. It's sad, but we'll see if it happens. This is gonna be a great game. I think it's gonna be a great game. Maybe not. Oregon is to me, Oregon's one of the most complete teams in college football. They can stop you running, they can stop you passing, they can throw the ball themselves.
Here we go again. Mm-hmm.
Unless you can just try and do.
What's the most impressive thing that Oregon has done outside of the Utah win?
You said it this week, T. The road to victory for Oregon State versus Washington was laid out perfectly. I mean,
yes,
at home in the rain,
Mm-hmm.
just everything was literally gift wrapped for you to win a top 5 matchup, and you couldn't get it done. Why? Because the old DJU kind of popped its head out, and you had a couple turnovers against a Washington defense that has been not good against the run this year. Has not been.
They're pretty good against Bo Nix, but continue.
Not good for the majority of the season. That has not been a good defense, and they couldn't get it done. So I honestly, I lost a lot of faith in that defense and that football team and offensively. So I think the same idea has to apply for this game for Oregon State. You got to keep it out of Oregon's hands. Bo Nix is playing on a different planet right now. And while I don't agree Michael Penix should be in the conversation when it comes to Heisman,
Penix is done.
I do think Bo deserves to be in that conversation.
Yeah.
He's going to break the record for completion percentage. He's been accurate. He's been taking care of the football. He's been a playmaker, dynamic in the backfield. They got the elite running back. They got Franklin at the receiving position. It's just going to be too much for Oregon State to handle unless they can just chew up clock.
Again, though, this is where it gets weird. Who won this game last year in Corvallis?
Oregon State, I'm guessing, by your
38-34. 38-34. And what did it stop? It stopped Oregon from going to the Pac-12 championship. What do they have a chance to do again this year? Stop Oregon from going for the Pac-12 championship. If Oregon State wins, and somebody asked in the chat, is Arizona still alive? Wilk, thank you. Yes.
Arizona's in.
If Oregon State wins and Arizona beats Arizona State, which would be a massive choke job if they failed that one, you would be talking about Jed Fish's Arizona Wildcats emerging out of this conference, which has had so much good football in it this year. Who in the fuck would have ever had Arizona making the Pac-12 championship? That is not only in play, but likely if Oregon State finds a way to win this game. But look, to be clear, Aaron, you're right. Like, the Ducks should win. Absolutely. Yes. They have all the advantages, but all the pressure is on Oregon. Oregon State can play free. The Beavers have that wonderful golden ticket, ruin your arch rival season game, right? Pull an Oklahoma State like they did to OU this year, a walk-off in this series in which you have, it's much more even than that one. It's like 60-40, but still you're on the losing end. Well, why not walk off with the last two? Not only that, think about what's on the line for Oregon. You're 2 touchdown favorites, right?
Yep.
And we basically given you the benefit of the doubt the entire year as being the best one-loss team, despite there not being a ton of proof. You're playing at home. Eugene's great home field advantage.
Yep.
You have Bo Nix. Bo Nix is much better than DJU. You have revenge on the mind. Last year, they held you out of the Pac-12 championship, and you have everything to play for if you're the Ducks. Bo Nix, Heisman, championship berth, playoff berth by extension, potential national championship by extension. So I think Oregon will win, and they better, because if they do not, it'll be an all too familiar tune for Oregon fans. And here's my question, Aaron Murray. What's the last big game you saw Bo Nix win?
Versus Utah.
Okay, fair. A 4-loss Utah team. Okay.
I mean,
the last big game that Bo Nix won was at Auburn, beating Oregon his freshman year.
I guess you're not going to consider USC obviously a good team, 7-5.
USC last year, I would say it was probably a good win for them.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, there's a weird thing about Oregon.
Is this a question now of, did we pump the Pac-12 too much? I think that needs to be the question, because like we're saying like all these wins aren't good, but then on top of that, we're kind of saying Oregon how good the conference is.
No. Oregon got a bit of a different Pac-12. Now, granted, USC and Utah completely falling apart has depumped, has taken a lot out of the conference.
I mean, at this point, they're playing. They would have played Washington. They would play Oregon State. They would play USC. They would play Utah. I mean, they're playing the
Yeah, but they lost to
top
the
half.
best team of that bunch.
But
That's what
once
I'm
again,
saying.
so we need to stop saying that the Pac-12 is good because you keep saying that like they're not beating anyone, but they're being the majority of like the middle half of that conference.
I'm pretty
So,
sure
like,
Washington has more ranked wins than any team in the
I'm not
top
saying
4. I think they have
okay,
4.
I'm
So
not
I'm
talking
saying
about
I think
Washington
there
State.
is
I'm
still
just saying
juice. Sorry.
if they win this game, they would have been 3 of the top, including themselves, 3 of the top 5 teams in that conference. So, like, you just have to admit that it's either their schedule, they're not that good, or the Pac-12 is not
No,
that good.
to be fair, I think no, to be fair, I think they have to win this game.
Yeah.
Is my point. I'm saying I still think they're relatively unproven for how we've crowned them. They beat Utah really badly. Okay, like after the Oregon loss, or excuse me, after losing to Washington, they beat Washington State by 14 at home. That's fine. They beat Utah badly in Utah. That's great. They smoked Cal. That's not going to do anything, but they did beat the hell out of them, 63-19. They really beat the hell out of USC as well. I'd say 36-27, not indicative of how that game went.
They
And they beat up Arizona State. But again, that's all good. But it's still like I just still think Oregon has something to prove, dude. And
I
we're going
agree. Everyone does still. I mean,
Bo Nix
hell,
doesn't have but Bo Nix doesn't have the big win. He doesn't have a
this
big
is
win.
opportunity. And that's why when we talk about the Heisman situation right now, like Bo Nix, to me, why I think Jaden's the best player. Bo Nix has the best platform the next 2 weeks. Because if you
Absolutely.
do
If
win
he
this
balls out
game,
Civil War and Pac-12, he wins.
yeah, he wins. So like if he wants to win the Heisman, like go ball. You have a chance. You go out there and throw 8 touchdowns over the next 2 games, take care of the football, throw 75% completion plus what you've done all season. You're going to win the Heisman, and your team's going to be in the playoffs.
Okay, this is a good point by Shepherd Ducks. Maybe I'm on base this. Washington and Oregon have played the exact same team since they played, and Oregon has a plus 160 point differential, and Washington has like plus 60. That's the difference. All right.
It's a good.
But Kalen DeBoer and Michael Penix have a way of pulling out these big games, even last year when they beat Oregon. And you just saw them do it again against Oregon State when everybody pronounced them dead. Let's see if Bo Nix and Oregon can do the same thing. No. Turner Young says, but Penix can't win the Heisman. That's caucasity. No. It's not caucasity. Simply put, Penix numbers have just fallen off a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Bo Nix still like Jaden Daniels has too much of a gap over Penix number wise. Nix is the only person that's even close to Daniels. And then so Nix's resume on this stage could push him over the top. All right, so who wins? Oregon wins. Oregon wins. But they better not fuck it up. But Oregon wins. What, dude? I'm just saying.
Every top team better not fuck it up. I mean, that's you can't have that mindset going into a game. Let me not screw this up.
Okay,
Play your damn game. Oregon's a better football team. Don't outthink it.
But play your game better than you did against Washington earlier this year. Like play your damn game.
You're at home
though.
You're at home.
Play your damn game.
You're not on the road.
All right, let's get to the Iron Bowl right after we get from our friends at DraftKings. Happy Thanksgiving, y'all, from your friends at DraftKings. And let's all remember that we have so much to be thankful for this time of year, whether it's family, friends, food, NFL football all week long. And DraftKings Sportsbook is keeping your Thanksgiving week full of action. Right now, new customers can bet just $5 on the NFL and get $150 instantly in bonus bets, okay? So no matter your appetite, we got something for you, okay? You like playing money lines, parlays of both the multi-game or same-game varietal, props, live bets, so much more. You name it, DraftKings has it. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use code SNAPS. It's your first time sign up. Use code SNAPS. New customers bet $5 in the NFL action to score $150 instantly in bonus bets. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. With code SNAPS, the crown is yours.
God, your hair looks awful in that promo.
Jesus Christ. Is this just because I talk shit about Bo Nix?
No,
I'm sorry. I know.
Why was it so bad? Like, comb it.
Look,
I
know.
One string just hanging down, like over here.
Here we go. You see this guy's personal attacks because he's upset because Bo Nix just fucking throws it in the flats all day and gets 78 complete percentage because Troy Franklin runs for like 80 yards after he catches it.
Hey, We were
And
bitching.
that's who they want to hand the Heisman to.
We were
And
bitching
that's who
about
Ryan
Carson
Leaf
doing that
says
to start the
Jaden Daniels
season.
when it start over. Get the hell out of here.
Who did say
Yeah,
that?
exactly. Turner Young nailed it. Bo Nix is a check down merchant. That's why Aaron loves him.
He's a mature quarterback that's played a lot of football. That's what he is.
That's the nerdiest fucking thing I've ever heard. What in the Chad Pennington are you talking about right now? Shout out Chad Pennington. He's the real check down god. Nobody did it better than Chad.
Chad was the check down god because he didn't have the arm strength to push the ball vertically down the field. Bo does.
I don't give a fuck. All I'm saying is he used to set like NFL completion percentage records, and he probably averaged like 4 yards per attempt. Shepherd Duck says T-Bob's just mad that LSU's defense is worse than USC's. I actually am mad about that, Shepherd.
No, they're not.
I mean,
no.
It's not that, bro. It's not that far off.
Oh, it's not far off, but they're not as worse though. They're not worse. They're not worse. You can at least go to bed knowing that they're not worse.
Yeah, I guess.
Is Aranda getting fired? Can you get Aranda back to
not
Aranda?
Oh no. Oh, I see what you're saying. Word on the street is I don't know how interested either party would be in that move. I think LSU fans, if they had their way, they want Blake Baker from Mizzou. Because he was just at LSU a couple of years ago. Damone Clark and the linebackers went from being awful to being like a first-round pick. His wife went to LSU. He played at Tulane, blah, 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 whatever. Yeah. And they love what he's done at Mizzou. So we'll see. Yeah, I agree. Hey, real quick, everybody, thank you for watching. Hit the like button, share with your friends. You already know the deal. By the way, almost at 8.5, guys. Let's fucking go, dude. The road to 9K continues. Thank you. Yeah, fuck you, Aaron Murray. Your hair looks like shit. How about that?
My hair looks good right now. I'm feeling myself today.
Impeccable. You look impeccable.
I got off the plane, 6 a.m. flight. When I got a little steam, nice shower.
How do you have so much time for self-care? You work 24/7 and you have a full family. You're always like flying all over the country. You do an incredible job.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like a baby tonight. Let's continue though.
Let's talk Iron Bowl. Man, we've already gone long. We're gonna have to bump. Okay. The Iron Bowl is awesome, Aaron Murray. But I don't know that I think that this one's going to be particularly exciting, unfortunately.
You know, we always say like weird things happen in during hair, and I was so hoping because I had Auburn a few weeks ago and watching the team, I was like, man, I'm seeing improvements. Like the defense is getting healthy. The defensive backfield looks pretty good. They got some veteran guys that have some length. The defensive line's playing well. They're running the ball. The quarterbacks, Payne Thorne looks better. And all of a sudden they just completely crapped the bed last week. And all that good energy that I felt was going through the Tigers' veins are completely gone right now. This is Alabama has been one of the most improved teams in college football this season. I say that, and then you look at their last games, and is it a mixture of them getting that much better or just kind of who they've played? Chattanooga,
now you're waking up. You're waking up, Aaron Murray.
A really bad LSU defense. Like the Tennessee team that has looked like Tennessee just got blown out the past 2 weeks. You only had a 3-point win versus Arkansas. You only won by 6 versus Texas A&M. Like, I want to believe that they've gotten really better, and I want to believe that Jalen Milroe has significantly improved as a passer. But like, who the hell have they played for me to really feel like that, especially on defense? Like, what defense have they played since A&M that's like, oh wow, it's a bunch of ball busters on that side of the football?
No, they haven't. And granted, they still have looked better within that context, right? Because Alabama fans will say, I mean, we struggled against South Florida earlier this year. So like, of course, beating the hell out of Kentucky is good. And they're not wrong. And Milroe's playing much better, but like, but the thing is, the problem is, Aaron, Auburn's shittier than all the teams you just named.
It's true. They are.
Like,
they are.
Like this is,
I agree.
You're more already talking about Georgia, Alabama. Like you're already laying the foundation for your anti-Alabama argument.
But Auburn's defense at home at least show some kinks in the armor enough to make it interesting. That's what I'm asking. Like enough to like be like a Georgia game where at halftime we're like, oh shit, maybe Auburn finds a way to win this game, and then Alabama pulls away in the fourth quarter. Like, is that possible? Or you just think it's all gas, no break, Alabama by 20
No,
points in the
look, I
game.
think Auburn's a better team than what you saw last week.
Oh, significantly better than
And
that.
we saw some of the dark magic, some of that dark Taliban magic that Auburn has against UGA earlier this year. But I still think Alabama's playing too confident right now. They're too motivated. They are thriving in this pseudo underdog role that we have all cast them in this year. And they're in their flow. And you might say, oh, well, Hugh Freeze knows how to beat Nick Saban. What I can't get over is just comparing Peyton Thorne and Jalen Milroe.
Yeah.
Peyton Thorne is the 10th rated quarterback in the SEC. He's got 14 touchdowns and 7 picks. So not only is he a very low efficiency quarterback, he's low volume. Out of all the quarterbacks who have played the entire year, he's averaging 143 yards a game through the air. He's got 1,500 yards and is dead last in the SEC. And then in Jalen Milroe, you have one of the most efficient and explosive throwers of the football who can run all over the place. You're going to tell me that you have an Alabama team that is literally better at every single position group on the field, and the quarterback disparity is that large. And you're just going to tell me that the Auburn Taliban magic is strong enough to overcome that?
When is Alabama,
I don't think so.
and any of the times they've beat Auburn, and any time they've beaten Alabama over the past decade, have they ever had the better team? Ever?
It ain't been this bad. Well, I mean, even in the kick six, Auburn was 4th in the country, right? I don't know how many other times they've beaten them since then. By the way, I do have a great kick six anecdote. So I do that other rival show with AJ McCarron on Stadium or whatever. And he said yesterday the kick six was the only field goal attempt of his career that he did not hold for, because the starting kicker was fucking up so bad that they put in the backup, and the punter had been holding with the backup. And so they put the punter on the field to hold the ball. The only kick he didn't hold for was the kick six, which cost him a natty. Gotta love it.
Did he feel like him holding the ball would have made the difference?
He just was. You could tell that he was very pissed off. He feels. I don't think the punter
would he have made the tackle?
So I was gonna say he was talking about how I would have fucking hit someone. He said I would have fucking hit someone. Maybe the punter didn't do the best job, but
all right,
bro. Auburn's about to get that ass.
Auburn will get lucky to score 10 points in this game.
Yeah.
The offense is bad. It's just bad. I mean, they better hope that Milroe goes back to throwing interceptions on, multiple interceptions. Like, that's the only way Auburn wins this game. Like, you have to find a way to confuse Jalen, force him to throw a couple picks, get short fields, maybe get something on the special teams. But for me to think that you're going to drive the football against Alabama's defense right now with how they don't have receivers. Receivers have not been good this entire season. Offensive line's been inconsistent. Quarterback's been inconsistent. It's going to be a long day for that offense. It's going to have to be an A++ game for Auburn's defense to keep them in it. And I will say this for me questioning Alabama's resume right now and how much have they truly grown. Jalen really has grown as a passer, and that's hard to do during a season that much. There's been significant growth from him, and obviously that's a lot to do with Tommy Reese and how he's kind of changed his mentality for what he calls and how he calls the game. But Jalen is playing like one of the better players in the SEC at the moment.
Yeah, and one of the coolest part is if you wanted to go to the if you wanted to go get tickets to the game, you could just download the Game Time app. It's a fast growing ticketing app in the US. And you got to remember, Game Time is obsessed with finding ways to help you save money on tickets. You get exclusive flash deals, sponsored deals. It's on games, concerts. Remember, it's not just sports. It is any sport, but it's also concerts, anything like that. They have zone deals where you pick the section, Game Time picks the seats for big time savings. And with a Game Time guarantee, you always get the best price. If you find tickets in the same section and row for less, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and redeem code SNAPS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. That's code SNAPS, SNAPS, for $20 off. Game Time. Download it today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. All right, we got to be quick here on the way out. We're not going to be able to talk LSU today, unfortunately. I'll just say this. Remember, this is a very good Texas A&M defense, and nobody's going to watch because of Michigan, Ohio State. So if Jaden ends up going for another 400 and 5 touchdowns, recognize that he did it statistically against the best defense in the SEC. Number one in total yards, third in points. I said statistically, bitch. Calm down. Okay.
Their defense, they'll give up. Jaden's gonna have another big game. Their defense is great against the run. Their secondary ain't good. LSU's gonna eat them up because LSU's offensive line can physically match up with A&M's defensive line. Like he's gonna have a big day.
Okay. Egg Bowl, real quick. It's my favorite rivalry. We've talked about it all week. It's the purest of all rivalries. It's just a good old-fashioned hate fest. It has no national relevance, don't mean shit to championships, never does, and yet it decides the happiness of these two communities in Mississippi every single year. I fucking love it. What's crazy, Aaron, what a difference a year can make. At this time last year, Ole Miss was completely collapsing. Mississippi State was solidifying. State wins this game. They moved to third in the SEC West, 8-4, bragging rights. That made it 4 losses in a row for Ole Miss. They went from 7-0 to 8-4. Just absolutely devastating time to be an Ole Miss fan. And then everything switches, right? You have the tragedy with Mike Leach. You try to stay with Zach Arnett because of continuity. And Zach Arnett's like, fuck continuity. I'm just going to remake everything. Like, we're just going to play old school football. And all of a sudden, Mississippi State is collapsed. They're directionless, coachless. They have nothing. And now Ole Miss is back on top. Just a shocking turn of events from last Thanksgiving to this Thanksgiving.
Yeah. And I think this game could get pretty ugly pretty fast. I mean, the one thing for Mississippi State right now is, you got Will Rogers back last week. I was on the call, and you could feel the excitement to have their QB back. Marks is back at the running back position, so like they're getting healthier in offense here at the end of the season. They have something to fight for a bowl game. They're a very senior-led football team.
Do players really care about the bowl game? I wonder, dude. I wonder.
I think for a team that is so many seniors on it, like you don't want to send your seniors
that might
off.
Be fair.
With,
That's true.
Like I remember my freshman year, we fought like hell to beat Georgia Tech. Obviously, it's a rivalry game, same kind of situation, to get to 6-6. And then I remember losing the bowl game and going 6-7 and be like, damn, like we just lost. And the seniors was the first Mark Richt football team that was below 500. Like that's a shitty feeling.
Speaking of shocking turnarounds, that in our lifetime we existed in a moment where UGA had to beat Georgia Tech to get bowl eligible.
I know.
What?
We started from the bottom back in 2010. We've worked our way up here in the past 13 years.
Oh my God.
And that's what, when we talk about, as we say, to start the season off, it was the senior leaderships. It was Jet Johnson and Watson at linebacker and all the guys that came back. I mean, they're, I think, the most senior-led football team in the SEC. So you do not want to send those guys off with a 5-7 record. You want those guys to be able to enjoy one last bowl game before they move on from the university. So I do think there is something to fight for Mississippi State. I just don't think they're very good. I think the offensive line is pretty bad. You know how I feel about, I think Will Rogers is just average. I think the receivers are average. I just think they're an average football team to below average football team. Where you look at Ole Miss, while they may be a little bit soft at the line of scrimmage, they are excellent at the receiving position, at the running back position, and then at the receiving position or the quarterback position. Like Jackson Dart should have a field day against this defense on Thursday night. An absolute field day. I think Ole Miss wins big.
Yeah, I mean, the game's in Starkville, and Egg Bowl home field advantage can get really sideways, but I just don't see the path for State. I'm with you. And for Ole Miss, I mean, what a comeback, it proving that the 10 regular season wins 2 years ago, not a flash in the pan. You have a chance to do it a second time in 3 years. Jackson Dart's better than Matt Corral, and he's coming back for another year. It looks like Lane Kiffin probably going to stick around. Doesn't seem like there's any traction on like the A&M job or anything like that. Like it's so funny because last year we were all clowning Kiffin and Ole Miss and pronouncing dead one-hit wonders, and now look at him now, dude. Stand tall. Unless they fuck it up this Thursday, Amber.
Don't fuck it up. The big mess up. Watch out, Lane.
But Mississippi State can't, they can't fuck it up. It's already fucked up. Oregon State, they already fucked it up last week. They can't fuck it up. That's why the pressure's on these big time favorites to win. They have stuff to play for. We're gonna see.
Some of us are meant for pressures. Others are just, they crumble in the face of adversity. I'll let you guys decide which one in this conversation is which. That's all you've talked about this entire show is teams scared of the moment.
Yeah, because that's what Oregon has been consistently. That's my entire fucking point. Win one of these things, and I'll stop saying it.
It's Stan Lanning's second season as a head coach of Oregon. I mean, my goodness. What do you expect? Perfection off the bat?
No, but I'm saying in how we talk about them, a lot of people have already crowned them. What I'm saying is I just want to see some proof that you earn the crown. Okay, that's all I'm asking for.
I agree.
Like, you assholes talk like they beat Washington.
They did.
You do.
In my mind,
you
did.
do.
In
exactly.
my mind,
and you're not even joking.
Dan Lanning punted
and you're
the
not even
football,
joking.
And they stopped pennant.
Like, that's what pissed me
game.
off. That's what pissed me off. So, and you're not even joking.
I'm not.
You are
they
dead
won that
serious.
Damn game.
And I do not understand that. Whatever. I love you all. Thank you so much. Thanksgiving tomorrow. We'll have some gambling talk with Colin Wilson. Unfortunately, no Chill Friday stream. I am going to be at Renfest with my family, so I'm going to be away from the computer. Not Remfest, Renaissance Fest. And Saturday, maybe something at night.
Yeah, I'm going to do multiple shows. We have to. I'm free all day, baby. Or you can't.
Well, I know, but I'm going to be getting
Let's do
irresponsibly drunk at 11 a.m. So yeah, maybe Saturday night.
Will you be able to sober up by Saturday night,
bruh? I can do it drunk. That ain't no problem. I'm an expert on the mic drunk. What you talking about, Mike?
Come on.
My lift bill during football season is out of control. Shout out. Hey, thank you, Ethan Ferguson. Thank you, Texas Rock, some guy, First P, Goat Dog, Taco Leg, everybody else hanging out in the chat. We love you so much. And Road to 9K continues. Like it, subscribe, give it your friends. Thank you. Y'all the best. We'll see you later for some more snaps.